progressing from a tuck planche into that advanced tuck planche is definitely a big jump and something a lot of you I know are struggling with. However, the good thing is I think a lot of you, it isn't actually a strength issue, it's an engagement issue. And what I find a lot of people, they fall into two camps. One is they're trying to rush it simply because they don't have the right strength. And two, you may have the right strength, but you're getting the engagement wrong, which is obviously a very good thing. But regardless of what camp you fall into, whether you lack strength or whether you lack the right technique and engagement, both of you probably lack the technique engagement anyway. So please watch to the end of the video, learn how to correctly get the technique right, get the right engagement, so then you can build the strength correctly to that advanced tuck, or you can get that advanced tuck straight away and start progressing to further variations like a quarter lay, a full planche, a straddle planche with bands, all the rest of it. Watch to the end of the video, you'll save yourself months, if not years of progress. So firstly, you have to understand the right pushing mechanics. And a lot of you probably understand this, but I think doing it standing really helps engage that. What you have to do is focus on sucking in your chest bone, pushing your shoulders down and forward, and holding that position. That is your scap protraction. And then you can literally stay standing, stay in this position, and then go into your planche lean while holding that. And then obviously your tuck planche and try and hold that in that tuck planche. That is what you have to make sure you're doing with all of your planche variations, or at least aiming to get there. So you've got that down pat, you understand scap protraction, and your tuck planche is nice and high and really protracted, hips in line, really tucked. You have to get that right first. Please progress till you can get like a really solid 8, 10, even 12-second tuck planche as high as you possibly can, because it's gonna help with the engagement toward that advanced tuck. So what you have to make sure you're doing is not thinking about pushing back. That is not what we're doing. We aren't trying to just kick our legs back at all. And also what we're not doing is a lot of the time you'll see people, they kick their legs back and they're also leaning as far forward as they can. With these planche variations, as I said with the tuck planche, it's about being as high as you possibly can. And that way you're building the scap protraction and also gonna save you, it's also gonna look a whole lot better. You do not want to be doing all these dead planches. It looks ugly, brushing your shoulders, you're building the wrong form, the wrong technique. It's just not great. So you have to make sure you're staying as high as you possibly can. So the best way to make sure that you aren't pushing those legs back and leaning as far forward, you want to imagine that you're trying to stay high, and then with your knees, it's actually about dropping them down. So instead of pushing back, you want to imagine you're pushing them down. And then in terms of the actual arc of motion, your shoulders will have to lean forward, but you want to imagine that you're pushing yourself up. What you do with your knees, you imagine you're going down and then back around. So it's almost like a circle. So you're going a curved motion into that advanced tucked, and if you are strong enough, going into that quarter lay. So it's a nice semicircle arc. And that way, we're maintaining protraction, our lower back isn't arching, and we're getting into that nice advanced tucked. And you can also see my ankles, they have a nice curl to it. And that way we're actually keeping our hamstrings and our glutes, all of our back muscles engaged and contracted to make that planche looking super nice. So for a lot of you, what this is probably gonna look like is you're gonna get into this position, everything's nice, and then you feel like you just can't go any further, and then you start to lower back arch. If that is you, it's very likely a strength issue. So you have to keep working through the progressions. And what the progressions are is literally just not dropping the knees as far down. So getting into a half advanced tucked and holding that for you 5 to 10 seconds. Or you can also use banded variations and hold that advanced tuck position, obviously with the band to assist you and build up that form. You also may need to continue building up your overall push strength with pike push-up variations, chest dip, weighted calisthenics, all the rest of it. It does take time to build. However, once you do get that nice advanced tuck position and you can hold it for like that 5 to 10 seconds, you can start progressing to that half lay variation. And even at this stage, you can probably start using some bands to progress, and maybe even some banded straddle planches, banded full planches, and those harder push variations, which is super exciting. Just making sure you're aiming to stay as high as you possibly can. That the form doesn't always have to be Instagram worthy, but as long as you're working toward it, and we'll say 80% of the form and techniques right, you're on the right path. And if you need help with the programming, this is probably the most complex part of calisthenics, jump in my calisthenics community. There's programs for absolutely every variation or every level of strength, and you get community support to help you with that technique too. Weekly coaching calls, all the rest of it. Either way, hope this video helped. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. All the best, guys. Have a good one.